And did you go to Casey together before marriage? Together. Oh, nice. Yeah. It's nice when couples come together.
If you have the
Brahma is not saying
Or one becomes one
Brahma is
and the
saying
other one
Sattalo.
doesn't.
You know?
So I guess I'm happy when see so many couples coming to
Brahma
Casey together. It's really
is
nice to see.
Brahma's office. But his residence is
So I was in Casey before.
I had to.
So I said to my parents, I don't want to marry a devotee. So then our temple, they have a matrimonial system. So there's all this one.
Okay,
there,
so here we
they
go.
arrange-
This
they arrange-
Sukadeva Goswami is again continuing. He's saying that Narada had come. This Narada has become the guru of Chitraketu. He gave him the mantra, he gave him the prayer. And so he gave it to Chitraketu, he was fully surrendered. And then Narada and then Gira, they go to Brahmaloka. He gave the mantra to him. And Prabhupada mentions that in the beginning, Chitraketu was not ready to get Bhakti Yoga. So in the beginning, Angira had only come on his own. But this time, second time, because Narada's come, he's able to teach about Bhakti Yoga. And Prabhupada says, before you teach about Bhakti Yoga, people should have that mood of renunciation. There should be some detachment from material enjoyment. As long as you're still thinking about enjoying material life, then you're not really qualified for Bhakti Yoga.
Maharaj Narada, why he went to Brahmaloka? He is not.
He lives there.
He lives in Brahmaloka.
Often goes up there, yeah. He's a spaceman, he travels everywhere.
He
Travels everywhere, you know. But he can go into the spiritual world, and he goes up to other planets, the topmost in Brahmaloka, Tapaloka, Janaloka, Mahaloka, these 4 planets.
So topmost is the Satyaloka or Brahmaloka?
That's the same. Satya Brahma, it's the same.
That is called Brahmaloka.
It is Brahmaloka. Satya Loka is Brahmaloka.
Elsewhere, Prabhupada writes that Narad Muni's planet is a satellite in the Brahmaloka.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I guess it's small
And
planet.
Narada doesn't stay in one place too long because he got cursed by Daksha, right?
Yes.
They have to keep moving. 3 days or something,
Yeah.
not too long. When Prabhupada went to Kenya, he did like that. He was staying in Indian people's homes, Gujarati people's homes. He would just stay 3 days in one house, then he moved to another house. He said, any more than 3 days, he said, then it's no longer convenient anymore.
Yeah. Not a guest anymore, you're like.
Yeah. For 3 days they can put up with you, but if you stay longer than that, it becomes inconvenient. That's why we need temples.
So Maharaj, is it recommended that if we also meet some devotees or relatives, is it recommended not more than 3 days if we all we have to go somewhere? Is it recommended in that way?
No, that's really just for sadhus. But for your family members or relatives, there's no rule.
You are going to visit your in-laws' house and okay, 3 days is over, I will go.
Yeah, somewhere I remember Prabhupada writing even if you're a guest at anybody's house, not more than 3 days.
If you're a guest.
Yeah.
But family members, it's different. If relatives, you're not a guest. If they're relatives or family members, they're not really guests. You've got a relationship there.
It depends on the strength of the relationship.
Yeah.
You may want to run away after 3 days.
Sorry?
I said you can use that as an excuse to run away after 3 days.
That's okay. Yeah, that's also. But in my observation, in my own observation for my own life, all the relationships are becoming weaker and weaker by the day. I mean, no proper connections because we are just WhatsApping each other. No meeting. So we know what is happening in their lives, but not much of
That means you are progressing. You are
no,
progressing.
not
in
from my side.
spirituality.
Everybody from both
Everybody.
the sides.
I think that's
You are
one of the
detaching
symptoms
and
of Kali
attaching.
Yuga, I think.
Yeah.
They say everyone will become fragmented in Kali Yuga. People will not mix so much. Family members will be living apart, far away from each
Yeah.
other. So you can see it. I mean, even husband and wife are working in two separate places, you know, and they only see each other on the weekend or every 2 weeks, you know. So you can really see the Kali Yuga effects.
In my native language, Kannada, there is a saying which says that even those people who are born as brothers, they grow up to become cousins. So it's like that. They always grow apart.
The bonus brothers.
Born as brothers, they grow up as cousins and become cousins. Like
Become distant. The relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, Prabhupada saying that mode of renunciation should be there, ideally, in taking up Bhakti Yoga. We shouldn't have a desire to still enjoy the material world. Of course, we don't usually preach like that to people in the beginning, right? People come, when we're talking to people, we don't really stress that kind of thing. But coming for initiation, then you're making a vow, so then, that it's a little different. Prabhupada would sometimes say that taking initiation means to declare war on the material energy. And Prabhupada explains why. He said, as long as you're very much attached to material enjoyment, you cannot concentrate the mind on devotional service. And then Prabhupada talks about the Westerners, the young people, the hippies. He said they've got the Vairagya mood. They've renounced, they've got the long hair, and wandering everywhere, homeless. And so he said they're qualified for Bhakti Yoga. So they can take up Bhakti Yoga without too much difficulty. And similarly, Maharaj Chitraketu, once he understood the philosophy of Vairagya Vidya, then he could understand, he was ready to understand Bhakti Yoga. So Vairagya Vidya, this is what Lord Chaitanya taught, right? You know the verse? Yeah. Ekam Purusha Purano. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shikshaka Eka Purusha Purana. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sharira Dari Kripam Pujaryastham Maham Prabhati. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. I surrender to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who has come to teach us devotional service based on detachment from the material world and transcendental knowledge. So these two things, Vairagya and Vidya. Prabhupada said they're parallel lines. If we're going to advance in Krishna consciousness, we have to increase in our renunciation. Renunciation means detachment from the material world, giving up material enjoyment. So we're following Narada Muni, taught these things. So Maharaj Chitraketu, you can see Vairagya, fasting and drinking only water for 1 week, continuously chanted with great care and attention the mantra given by Narada Muni. And what's going to happen?
To the Supreme Lord.
He gets some byproduct of devotion. He doesn't get the ultimate goal, he gets something else. He's made the ruler of the planet of the Vidyadharas. He's made the king of the Vidyadharas. It's Vidyadhara Loka, one of the higher planets above the earthly planet, Vidyadhara Loka. So he was given jurisdiction over that planet. They say it was a byproduct of devotion.
So Maharaj, I'm just curious why he wasn't given devotion if he was so dedicated to Sankarshan. Is that because he had material desires in his heart? That's why? Or?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it happens like that. Devotee is given some kind of opulence. It may be sometimes the Lord wants us to use that opulence in Krishna's service. It may be to satisfy the devotee's own desires. Anyway, Chitraketu, he got this, it was given to him, said here, an intermediate product of his spiritual advancement in knowledge. So just like Vairagya and Vidya, knowledge and detachment, they follow wherever there is devotion. And so this also happens, sometimes it happens that Prabhupada said, after being initiated, you get material opulence. Sometimes it happens, it's a byproduct. You don't need to practice karma, or jnana, or yoga. Just do bhakti, and sometimes you get these things. Of course, a devotee doesn't want them, but Chitraketu received this side benefit of his devotional service. So it's like a side benefit. Devotional service can give you these things. It's not that because you're a devotee you have to be poor. Some devotees are poor, but you're not required to be poor. So therefore, within a very few days, by the influence of the mantra, his mind became enlightened in spiritual progress, and he got the shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Anantadev. So Maharaj Chitraketu, and just chanting for 1 week, and you see he's able to meet Lord Anantadev. That is the real goal of devotional service, an opportunity to come face to face with the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada said, a devotee receives all material opulences if these are required. Otherwise, devotee is not interested in material opulence, and the Lord also doesn't award them.
So that Vidyadharas and Charanas, they are not staying in spiritual. That is not spiritual.
No.
So here, how he once he got that Vidyadhara's planet, and again how he has gone to this Sesnath, this Ananta says.
Well, we're hearing. Because he's doing devotional service, his material opulences are not material. They are spiritual. And Prabhupada said, you build a temple, it's not material. A devotee doesn't think of, the devotee is thinking about the temple, but the temple is spiritual, for Krishna's worship. Everything in the temple, the bricks, the stone, the wood, is all spiritual. The deity is also spiritual. It's not stone, it's Krishna. The devotional service, everything in devotional service is spiritual. Devotee is given material opulence for spiritual advancement. Opulence is an aid to help the devotee advance back to Godhead. So Maharaj Chitraketu remained in material opulence as the master of the Vidyadhara. So by doing devotional service, he became perfect. Within a few days, returned home back to Godhead, taking shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Ananta, Lord Shesha.
So that practicing devotional service is also possible there?
Yes.
In Vidyadhara's planet?
Definitely. Wherever it's possible, anywhere. Even you go to hell, you can practice devotional service.
It depends upon individual.
Yes. So Prabhupada said a karmi's material opulence and a devotee's opulence are not on the same level. Maharaj Chitraketu wanted only to return home back to Godhead. So he achieved success in that way. So now he's come to meet Lord Ananta Dev. He's still going to be staying in the Vidyadharas, but he's got the opportunity to somehow meet Lord Ananta Dev. Lord Ananta Dev resides where? At the bottom of the universe. Patala Loka. Right? Residing there. So somehow Maharaj Chitraketu was able to meet the Lord there. And you can see the description. He's surrounded by exalted devotees. He's bluish, he's very attractive, he's very well decorated. So Maharaj Chitraketu feels ecstasy, his body is purified, so tears come from his eyes, his hair standing on end, he's trembling, and he offers his obeisances to the Lord. And he offers so much love, choked in ecstasy, he's unable to say anything, he's unable to utter any of the letters of the alphabet, or in order to offer prayers, at least for some time. So he had to wait for a while before he could offer his prayers. But then, controlling his mind, restraining his senses, he recovered and he began to express his feelings. Offered prayers to the Lord, who is the personification of the Holy Scriptures. The Holy Scriptures mean the Satvata Samhitas like Brahma Samhita, Narada Pancharatma, and who is the spiritual master of all. So he's offered prayers. And Prabhupada thought not easy to offer prayers. But we can chant Hare Krishna. That Hare Krishna mantras of prayer is always accepted by pure devotees. But devotees don't offer prayers to imaginary forms. We have to offer prayers to the forms of the Lord, as they are described. It should not be just some fictitious, imaginary form.
Maharaj,
Yes?
it seems that Chitraketu had his constitutional position as servant of Ananta Shesha, Ananta.
Mm-hmm.
That's why within a week he reawakened the love for Ananta and he's feeling so much emotions.
Well, you have to understand just the experience of coming in front of someone is great, so powerful, the presence of the Lord, so powerful that you would become emotionally stunned. And just like you come in front of Prabhupada, it's so powerful, just the presence of the great devotee, the spiritual master, the acharya, you just feel awed by the whole thing. It's very powerful. And so the same way he's come in front of Ananta Shesha. So Ananta Shesha, so big, huge form, and he's laying down on the bed, on the snake bed. He's laying down and he's decorated, with his jewels and helmet and garland and everything. The whole thing would just be so powerful. Just like you come and see the deities, you can feel it. It's so powerful when you open the curtains every morning. You see the deities. It can fill you with ecstasy, with awe and veneration. You can feel the ecstasy. It certainly has an effect on you. So similarly, coming to see Lord Ananta Shesha certainly had an effect on Maharaj Chitraketu. Right? So Maharaj Chitraketu, he is going to offer prayers to Lord Ananta Shesha. And then we will hear Ananta Shesha's response to his prayers. Actually, maybe you like to do this yourself. Maybe we can make some groups and you can go through the prayers. How many? Ladies could be one group, and the men two groups of three, right? So 3 groups. So take the prayers. Beginning text 34. Beginning text 34. Go through the prayers.
What we have to tell?
We want to hear what is the essence of the prayer. What is happening?
34 to what?
34 up to, it goes up to up to 48, right? That's right, 48. Now, you can divide the prayers into 3 groups.
15 prayers. So 3 groups, 5 each.
But you have to look at the prayers and just see, which ones make up the group.
So 5 each. First 5 you can do, second 5, third 5, like that. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so 34 to 38 we do, and 30 to 43, and 44 to 49.
So we'll take the last ones, yeah?
48.
What is our number?
We do 34 to 38. Yeah. And 39 to 43.
Okay. 39 to 43.
And 44 to 48 you can do.
44 to 48.
In this, we may
34, 35,
subdivide.
38. 36,
39. 39 to 43. Okay, I take 39.
ठीक है हाँ
Only ladies.
शुरू करते हैं
39, 40, take 2.
Oh, it's really bad for you.
Always.
34, 35, 36, 37, 38. Have a
Ready? No? Any more
There are
time?
long purports, Maharaj.
You just want the essence. Just want one sentence,
One sentence, okay. ओके, तो आप बोलेंगे इसको? बोलेंगे ना? बोलेंगे 34 में होता है, 36 एक ही जो आप आए हैं
Let's take the gist. Got it? Good. I will take it. These prayers, Buddha successfully eliminated desires. Worship people eliminated from they accept the process and follow the nature of the peaceful. And now we have to use the nature. That is the essence. Essence. Accept the process of Bhakti. Dharma has no contradictions. It is not sectarian. It is Sarvotpushpa. Best of all religions.
We are listening from vaccine Bhagavatam. What is the license of prayer? Bhagavatam license. Who will accept that? We should accept that.
ऐसा सूर्य ऐसे कभी भागवत धर्म
Okay, let's hear. Let's hear from you.
Here, from here.
Okay, from here. He's saying that there is a mutual conquerorship. Devotee conquers the Lord, and Lord is conquered by the devotee. And probably the example of gopis and Krishna. When Krishna would play his flute, gopis would come. They would feel conquered by him. And when Krishna would not see gopis, he will feel bad, or some sadness was there on Krishna's part. So gopis also conquered Krishna by their service to him. So in that mutual conquerorship, they derive transcendental bliss.
Are you talking about the first verse or the first group of verses?
I'm talking about. I thought we each will speak one
verse.
Not one verse, but something from what you have read.
No.
Give the essence of that verse.
All the 5 verses,
Yeah.
they're completely different, Maharaj. They are not connected with
So
each
go
other.
verse by verse.
Huh?
Go verse by verse.
Verse by-
Verse by verse then. Yeah.
So I cover the first verse and Prabhu will say
Yeah,
the
but
second.
you have to be quick. I don't want a class.
Okay.
You have just one sentence is enough.
Okay, mutual conquerorship brings transcendental bliss to each other.
Okay. Somebody else.
35.
What have you got
35.
in the first verse?
Here, Master Prabhu.
We split the verses, so we did the last 5 verses.
Oh, you did the last 5 verses.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay,
first
see
5
it.
they did, first second 5 we did.
Okay. Okay.
Next,
So, so you did the first verse. What about?
35 says that Lord, the Chitraketu praised Lord as the Supreme Ishvara, and all others,
My
all other
44,
controllers and
I will
rulers
say
like
this
Lord
is-
Brahma are just represent the portion of is completement, like portion and like partial power to create. Like Brahma is just manifesting the partial power to create this material world. Actual creator, annihilator, and maintainer is the Supreme God.
Okay. Alright. 36.
It says that Krishna is the cause of this material cause manifestation, and the living entities come from the Lord, not from the chemicals. And Prabhupada gives example just like lemon tree produces tons of citric acid. So citric acid is not the cause for the lemon tree. It has come from the Lord, which is producing citric acid.
Well, I don't know where you get this is from the purport, huh?
Yes.
You're not talking much about what's in the verse.
You exist at all times.
Huh?
You exist at all times.
Yeah, it exists at all times. Yeah, I mean, Prabhupada's purport may be talking about chemicals, lemon trees and things, but
Okay.
there's
Sorry.
nothing in the verse.
Okay.
I don't know how.
So verse says that the Lord exists on all the three phases: the beginning, the middle, and the end.
Yeah. Okay. Next verse.
Next verse, Chitraketu gives definition of Ananta, that this universe is covered by the 10 coverings, and beyond this 10 coverings of this universe, there are innumerable universes which appears like atoms in his body. So he is so
Not 10 covering.
10,
Seven.
sorry, 7 layers. Sorry, 7 layers. And there are so many other universes that is uncountable, but still they are like just few atoms in his whole body. So he is so unlimited that he is known as Ananta. He cannot be measured.
Okay. And then, next one.
He says that people who have small intelligence because they are too much materialistic, they worship demigods and they fail to worship you. But they are and demigods who are actually your parts, they don't understand that. They worship demigods who are Krishna's part only, but they fail to worship Krishna and they are like animals because they have so many material desires, and those demigods die when the manifestation finish. Just like king's nobility is finished when he is not the king anymore.
They fail to worship the Lord.
Yes. Instead worship demigods who are insignificant and part of Krishna only, Lord only. They are like animals,
Okay.
the human form of life.
He also talks about the benedictions.
Yes.
Benedictions are temporary. Talks also about the king. King can lose his power. When he loses his power, when he's not the king anymore, he's just an ordinary person. So that being a king is a temporary position. So why should we worship demigods when they're so insignificant? Okay.
39. 39 he says that Lord, you are the source of knowledge and also you are transcendental to material quality. Even those who are obsessed to this material opulence worship you, they will be free from reward. Because you are transcendental, so your association will escape someone from material nature. That is the gist of the
You didn't pick up on the seeds, right?
Dry seeds and just as sterilized or fried seeds do not produce plants. So as because even though they are obsessed with material opulence, if they are associating with you, they will transcendent the escape from this material nature because you are transcendent.
They don't have to take birth again, right? Just like fried seeds don't produce plants. So the living entities don't have to take birth again. When?
Even Sakama Bhakta will become almost come to perfection, near perfection. Even a person who has got desires, if he goes towards the Lord, then he's benefiting, is what.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got desires. It's mentioned here. People with material desires, and through material opulence worship you, then they don't have to take birth again. So that's the power of worshipping Krishna. But because they worship Krishna, they don't have to take birth again. The one who associates with Krishna can get free. So that's the power of the association of Krishna, that they don't have to take birth again. Because they were worshipping Krishna, so they were associating with him and worship. So they get free of birth and death. Prabhupada says here, if he comes to Krishna, his life is success. He may have material desires, he may be influenced by envy or fear or affection, but if he comes to Krishna, his life is success. Okay, go ahead. Number 40.
40. O unconquerable Lord, Bhagavata Dharma is the uncontaminated religious system for achieving the shelter of your lotus feet. Persons who have no material desires worship you to be liberated from the material contamination. They accept the process of Bhagavad Dharma to achieve shelter of your lotus feet. This is only the Bhagavad Dharma, there is 40 Maharaj. And 41 is, there is no contradiction in the Bhagavata Dharma like in other religious systems. Bhagavata Dharma has no such material consciousness. They are all Krishna consciousness. There is no difference between you and I. And Bhagavata Dharma is Sarvatkrishta. There is no contradictions. And discrimination has no place in Krishna consciousness or Bhagavata Dharma.
Well, let's go back to 40. I want to hear 40 again.
40. O unconquerable one, Bhagavata Dharma is an
Yeah, I know the verse. I want to hear what's your essence of it.
essence of it is Bhagavata Dharma is the dharma to be followed to get the lotus feet of the Lord. Those who, with no material desires, who accepts the Bhagavata Dharma, they will get the achieve the shelter of the your lotus feet.
How do they get shelter? Through the process of Bhagavad Dharma.
Bhagavad Dharma.
Yes.
Earlier verse it is said that even he is obsessed with material opulence. Now it is telling even who have no material desires. Just opposite, no?
Well, even if they have material desires, here it's talking about the Kumaras. Well, the Kumaras have no material desires. worship you to be liberated from material contamination. So their desire was not pure devotion. They wanted to get liberation from material contamination. But if they accept the process of Bhagavad Dharma,
They will be liberated.
then they can come to the lotus feet of the Lord. So it leads to that.
How I understood was that people with desires, if they do worship with the opulence, they somehow get liberation out of repeated birth and death. But people who take up Bhagavad Dharma, go to the lotus feet, means they get personal association of the Lord.
Yeah.
So there is a difference between Sakama Bhakta doing devotional service and people taking up Bhagavad Dharma and surrendering to the Lord.
Okay. Yeah. A devotee following the principles of Bhagavad Dharma becomes very obligated to the Lord. He can understand the difference between life without Bhagavad Dharma and life with Bhagavad Dharma. And thus he remains obliged to the Lord. Taking to Krishna consciousness, bringing fallen souls to Krishna is victory for Lord Krishna. And then he quotes the Supreme. With material aspirations, one should simply serve Krishna. Bhagavad Dharma is the process of religion, by pure. You shouldn't. Yeah, Bhagavad Dharma is better than just simply liberation. Because Bhagavad Dharma is bringing you to the lotus feet of the Lord. So that's why the four Kumaras, they also become devotees. Okay, 41.
What have we already done?
Now one here again.
Okay. All forms of religions have full of contradictions, but there is no contradiction in Bhagavad Dharma. And that is Krishna consciousness. Thinking that they are Krishnas and Krishnas is theirs. And Bhagavad Dharma is Sarvatkrishta. It is not a concocted sectarian belief.
So they're talking about irreligion here.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Different kinds of irreligious systems.
Contradictions are there, but in Bhagavad Dharma no contradiction is there.
Yes. Low class religion. There's the low class religious systems where there's so much envy or passion. But in Bhagavad Dharma, there's simply everything is Krishna. Everything is Krishna's, and we can use everything for Krishna's service.
Maharaj,
Huh?
we are saying that Bhagavad Dharma is the highest religion. Others are low class religious systems. Then if we say other class of religious systems, are they get offended?
Well, we don't say everybody, but there are some things which are low class religious systems. There are other low class religious systems. Don't say everything except Krishna consciousness is loka. That would be very, you can't say that. You have to be careful how you word these things. You say everybody low class, only very high class,
So Maharaj, Bhagavad Dharma would be translated into love of God, right? When you're doing loving devotion for God, which you can do in other religions also. Is that correct? Is that how you would define it? So Bhagavad Dharma is talking about Bhagavad Dharma. So would we define Bhagavad Dharma as devotion to
Loving
the Lord,
service.
loving service to the Lord?
Loving service to the Lord.
The definition is lower does not mean the least. Lower is lower. Even if it is a little lower, it's lower. So we can call it a lower religion. Obviously, we don't go and tell it on their face that your religion is lower. But it is for our conviction that because unless we have conviction that we are following the best, we are not going to give our everything into it. This is my understanding.
Okay.
So, I mean, just to add to what Mataji was saying, that other religion might profess love as one of their fundamental elements of the religion, but unless that love is towards Krishna, who is the son of Vasudeva, who is residing in Vrindavana, everything else is lower than that. We might call whatever, but they might have a partial understanding. If it's partial understanding, it is lower than the better understanding.
Yeah. There are different levels, religious systems. Not everybody is in the mood of Vrindavan. Not everybody wants to go to Braja and be a gopi.
Not that, Maharaj. I'm saying that while we are trying to preach, we devise preaching material in such a way to convince the others to become pious. But in the process, we convince ourselves that everything is same. So this is the danger of bridge preaching. That while we are preaching on the bridge, we walk across the bridge and cross over, rather than getting them this side. So to say everything is fine, every religion is professing love, and everything else is also similarly going to the same Lord, I somehow don't see the. I can't find it digestible, because we have got the best possible. Of course, all religions are saying the same thing, that our religion is the best. Islam also says that Islam is the best. I met one person, a driver in Saudi. I was chanting and he asked me, what you're doing. I said, I'm chanting the holy names of the Lord. He said, whose names are you chanting? I said, it's the same as Allah. You call Allah, I call Krishna. He said, good, you chant. Next time you'll be born as a Muslim. He said that to me. So I thought, wow, this one also believes that his religion is better than everybody else. So that is how all of us should do, regardless of what. Because he is also calling for the Lord, I am also calling for the Lord. But because Prabhupada has given us logical understanding of the Dharma and the scriptures, we must be much more convinced. Though we might preach to them saying that everything is fine, we must not be convinced of it.
Okay.
Is what I was thinking.
We should have that confidence that this is the highest thing.
Yes, if you don't have the confidence that this is the highest, then I will not give my full.
Yeah.
I cannot give this life to Prabhupada if I am not convinced that Prabhupada is going to take me home back to God.
Okay.
42. It's a continuation of this verse, the 41, where we're speaking about irreligious movements or religions which is producing envy. In this 42nd verse, it says, envy producing religion benefits nobody. This is a summary of it.
Okay. Yes, a religion which is simply producing envy, it doesn't do any good for anybody, does it?
Prabhupada explains in the words about in the purport on killing animals and things like that. So that is enviousness, which is making us to kill other living entities.
Okay.
So that is 42. 43, it says Bhagavad Dharma is practiced by cultured people. Something of that sort. Aryans. People who have culture are Aryans, and Bhagavad Dharma is practiced by them. So it is supposed to be the best.
I was talking about the Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah,
So this is the goal of life.
yeah.
Those who follow their duties under your supervision, being equal to all, moving in, are considered high and low, are called Aryans. Aryans worship you. Aryans meaning those who are
Civilized.
Huh?
Civilized.
Civilized.
Right. Cultured, civilized people.
Gentlemen, like how Prabhupada says, gentlemen people.
So they will be reading the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah. The other way of the same sentence is that people who read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam truly are gentlemen.
Okay. And then 44.
44.
So 44 is saying that when we see the Lord or we hear His holy name, it frees us from all contamination. Even the most fallen person is freed from such contamination.
Even the most fallen person is freed from contamination by devotional service.
By seeing the Lord or by hearing the Lord. So that's the verse. And then the purport says that during the process of Kali Yuga, we're all contaminated, we're all committing sins. So this holy name is the best thing to deliver us. And if we hear it just once without offenses, then it can actually purify our heart in that moment. Then at the end of the purport, it says that actually when we do deity worship, we serve the deity, you get the same result as personally serving the Lord in Vaikuntha.
Okay.
Next 45, it's a continuation of 44 verse. So where it says, by taking darshan of the Lord, all the contamination in the heart and the lusty desires and sinful activities, everything is washed away. And this is done with proper training. Means the bona fide sampradaya is mentioned here. Narad Muni gave this, gave the training to Chitraketu, and through his help only he was able to get darshan of the Lord.
Okay. By the mercy of Narada Muni.
By the mercy of
Next, 46. The Supreme Lord is Sarvagya, and He knows everything. But we are so insignificant that we cannot invent anything new. And Prabhupada is given an example. The sun, in the presence of the sun, there is nothing to be revealed by the light of the glowworm. So, in the presence of the Supreme Lord, we cannot make known anything new things.
Yeah. In the presence of the sun, you're not going to get any benefit from a glowworm. In the same way, in the presence of the Lord, there's nothing for us to tell. Because the Lord is complete in Himself, everything is from. Okay, and then 47.
47, it's mentioned the Lord is the creator, maintainer and annihilator. But the people who are materialistic, they think that the cosmic manifestation is different, is nothing to do with the Lord, but they don't understand that it's the Supreme Lord who is doing everything. And Chitraketu is offering his obeisances.
Okay. we cannot understand. People are too materialistic. They're not able to understand the position of the Lord. Okay, and 48?
48, it's Jitokhet is praying that it's only through the Lord's endeavor that the other directors of the universe, such as Brahma and Indra, etc., start to actually do their activities. And it's only when the Lord's senses start to activate, then these personalities can perceive things. And actually, then in the purport we hear that the Supreme Lord holds all the universes on his head, like seeds of mustard, and he's got like thousands of hoods, which he holds them on.
This is not the purport, this is the verse.
Oh, it's in the purport. Oh yeah,
Huh?
sorry. Yeah, it's the verse.
No purport.
There's no purport.
Okay.
Maharaj,
Yes?
in text 42, how can a religious system that produces envy of oneself? That means, can we say that religious system produces envy? In 42, how can a religious system that produces envy of oneself and of others be beneficial for oneself and for them? That means, religious system produces envy. 42.
Yes.
Just I wanted to have some. How can a religious system that produces envy of oneself? That means religious system produces envy, or this is the misunderstanding of the person who is unable to understand the religious system.
Well, it could be the religious system itself is the cause of the envy. It could be, for example, you could go to wherever the religion is practiced, and they could be preaching against other traditions. They could be saying nasty things about other people, and criticizing them, pulling them down. Like that, so producing envy.
So that means enviousness is not there in the religious system, that is interpretation by the preacher.
Yes, it's the preacher seeing that, presenting that. And some religions, they encourage that style of presentation. You know, they criticize the worship of God, worship of idols. Idol worship is condemned, you know. So people think we're worshipping idols. They often criticize Hindu, like that Indian religion, that they worship idol worshippers. And they sacrifice human beings and things like this, yeah. So they will preach these things to people.
So that means enviousness is introduced to the religious system, huh? Other than Bhagavata Dharma.
Yes. They're introducing envy.
Wrong religious system.
So what is auspicious about following is nothing is auspicious about it. What is actually to begin? Nothing. Causing pain to one's own self due to self-envy, causing pain to others. One arouses your anger and practices irreligion. Just make people angry and become more irreligious. So, just so much waste of time, trouble, unnecessary. Okay? So we're on 15. Here we go. 15. So Lord Anantadev is going to reply. He's heard the prayers of Chitraketu, and he's going to respond. And he tells him, you accepted the instructions by the great sages. He said, the instructions spoken by me. by the great sages Narada. You become completely aware of transcendental knowledge. You're now educated. You have seen me face to face. Therefore, you are now completely perfect. Right? We want to see the Lord. I really want to see you. Remember George Harrison, my sweet Lord? He would say, I really want to see you, Lord. But it takes so long. My Lord. You know? But we want to see God. We want to see Him. But you have to be qualified. You have to have that ointment of love. If you have that love on the eyes, the prema, then you can see God. Yeah, right. The Prabhupada quotes a verse, you see. This is a relevant verse. You have to be able to have that love, then you can see God. So that was one thing he said. All living entities are my expansions and are separate from me. I am the super soul. I exist because I manifest them. I am the form of the transcendental vibrations like Omkara and Hare Krishna mantra. These two forms of mine, namely the transcendental sound and the eternally blissful spiritual form of the deity, are my eternal forms. They are not material. So Lord Ananta is speaking, very practical. He's replying that this transcendental sound vibration is not different from me, and the deity also is not different from me. They are not material. So that's important to understand. And then next verse, in this world of matter, which the conditioned soul accepts, consisting of enjoyable resources, the conditioned soul expands, thinking he is the enjoyer of the material world. Similarly, the material world expands in the living entity as a source of enjoyment. In this way, they both expand. Because they are my energies, they are both pervaded by me. As the Supreme Lord, I am the cause of these effects. One should know that both of them rest in me. So it's a bit more subtle here. But Lord Ananta is talking about the consciousness of the living entities, that we think the material world is for our enjoyment. And because we think like that, then we become entangled in the material world. But of course, the whole material world, it is the Lord's energy. Lord Ananta said, they are my energy. The material world and the living entity are both His energy. So he said, I am the cause of these effects. So both of them rest in me. And then he gives some examples about sleep. We often hear this about deep sleep. When you're in deep sleep, then he dreams and he sees in himself many other objects, great mountains, rivers, even the entire universe. Then sometimes when we awake from a dream, then we see the human form laying on his bed in one place. Then he sees himself in terms of various conditions. Belong to a particular country, family, all the conditions of deep sleep, dreaming, and wakefulness are energies of the Supreme Lord. One should always remember the original creator of the conditions, the Supreme Lord. who is unaffected by them. We sleep, but the Lord doesn't have to sleep. He can sleep if he wants, but doesn't have to. Anyway, 3 conditions: sleeping, deep sleep, dreaming, and wakefulness. So deep sleep, because you dream so many things, great mountains, rivers, universes. And then waking, you see yourself in different conditions. You're laying in a bed in one place. You see yourself like that. You just wake up. We see we're a human being, we're in this one. But then, higher still, wakefulness, you identify with the body. So the Lord is the ultimate actor. Conditioned soul simply remembers the Lord. Our duty is to remember Krishna. Next one. Know me to be the Supreme Brahman, the all-pervading Super Soul, whom the sleeping living entity can understand, through whom the sleeping living entity can understand his dreaming condition and his happiness beyond the activities of the material. That is to say, I am the cause of the activities of the sleeping living being. So Lord Krishna, as the Super Soul, inspires people to do different activities. He's the inspiration behind everyone. And then, in one's dream, during sleep, many subject matters are witnessed by the Super Soul. How can the living entity, who is different from the Super Soul, remember the activities of dreams? I have many dreams every night, many dreams. Some of them 30 or 40 dreams every night. You don't remember them, do you? So the experiences of one person cannot be understood by another. Right? You don't understand I don't understand yours. The knower of the facts, the living entity who inquires into the incidents manifested in dreams and waking, is different from the circumstantial activities. That knowing factor is Brahman. The quality of knowing belongs to the living entities and to the Supreme Soul. Thus the living entity can also experience the activities of dreams and wakefulness. In both stages, the knower is unchanged, but is qualitatively one with the Supreme Brahman. So we're one with the Supreme Brahman, one in quality. So we experience these different conditions, dreams and wakefulness. And then the living entity, thinking himself different from me, forgets his spiritual identity of oneness with me. His material conditional life begins. In other words, instead of identifying his interest with mine, he becomes interested in his bodily expansions, like his wife, children, material possessions. In this way, by the influence of his actions, one body comes from another, and after one death, another death takes place. So we have that free will. We forget the Lord, we fall under the material energy, conditioned life, taking birth again and again. A human being can attain perfection in life by self-realization through the Vedic literature. This is possible especially for a human being born in India, the land of piety. A man who obtains birth in such a convenient position but does not understand his self is unable to achieve the highest perfection, even if he is exalted to life in the higher planetary system. So, So fortunate to be born in Bharatvarsha.
In the translation, Prabhupada has given. Bharat he has added.
But if we don't understand ourselves, if we have not understood what is then we have wasted. Even if you live in the higher planetary system, you may think the goal of life is to go to the Brahmaloka. Then it's wasted. So remembering the great trouble found in the field of activities performed for fruitive results, remembering how one receives the reverse of one's results, one desires, whether from material actions or from the fruitive activities, an intelligent man should cease from the desire for fruitive actions. For by such endeavors one cannot achieve the ultimate goal of life. On the other hand, if one acts with desires for fruitive results, in other words, if one acts without desires for fruitive results, if one engages in devotional activities, he can achieve the highest goal of life, with freedom from miserable conditions. Considering this, one should cease from material desires. Man and women, husband and wife plan together to get happiness and decrease unhappiness, working jointly in many ways, but because their activities are full of desires, these activities are never a source of happiness. They never diminish distress. They are a cause of great unhappiness. Do you believe it? One should understand the activities of persons who are proud of their material experience bring only results contradictory to those such persons conceive while awake, sleeping, and deeply sleeping. One should further understand the spirit soul, although very difficult for the materialist to perceive, is above all these conditions. And by the strength of one's discrimination, one should give up the desire for fruitive result in the present life and in the next, thus becoming experienced in transcendental knowledge. One should become my devotee. Persons who try to reach the ultimate goal must observe the Supreme Person, a living entity, one in quality, is a part in the whole. This is the understanding of life. O King, if you accept this conclusion of mine, being unattached to material enjoyment, adhering to me with great faith, and thus becoming proficient and fully aware of knowledge, you will achieve the highest perfection by attaining me. Then Lord Sankarshan disappeared from that place as Chitraketu looked on. Right? So we were wondering, how is it he's seeing Sankarshan? So Lord Sankarshan just appeared to him by the result of his meditation, because he was absorbed in meditation on the Lord. So the Lord appeared to him. And he heard the prayers of Chitraketu. He gave his response about the importance of reading scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and then he disappears. The Lord has that power. He can appear. He can appear wherever the devotee is. Just like over in Navadvip, there's Koladvip. There's a place where Lord Varaha appeared. Lord Varaha appeared to the devotee. is worshipping the Lord, desired to see the Lord. Lord Varaha appeared. The Lord Sankirtan also appeared to Chitraketu and gave all his instructions to him.
So Maharaj, in text 55, he is the cause of the activities of sleeping living being. So the activities in the sleep is dreaming.
He's asleep.
He is the cause of the activities
Yes,
of the sleeping living being.
yes.
So dreaming is the activity in the sleep. Can
Well, yeah, but there's other activities also. Dreaming, there's other activities. Not just sleeping, deep sleep.
dreaming?
There's other consciousness. What was it?
Susupti.
Waking.
Jagrata, Nidra, Sushupti.
Uh-huh.
Swapna, Sushupti.
3 stages of consciousness. Deep sleep, waking up, and
Dream sleep.
being fully
Sleep.
aware.
Dreaming.
Wakefulness.
Deep sleep, dreaming, and wakefulness.
So 3 different levels of consciousness. So activities are there. You can't stop activities, but whatever activities, the Lord is the cause of them. Ultimately, the Lord is the cause. Material nature causes the activity, but the material nature is under the control of the Lord. Right? So you can read these over again. Read over Lord Ananta's reply to Chitraketu. And we'll go over it again tomorrow also. Bring out the essence of Lord Ananta's instructions to Chitraketu. Just imagine to get instructions directly from the Lord.
What you got to do.
So we have class tomorrow.
So tomorrow, is it just in the morning?
Yeah,
Or just in the morning?
just in the morning.
18th chapter has 78
Where is the test?
Friday.
chapter is small.
18th chapter, it's a big chapter.
Yeah. It's 80 verses.
Chapter 80.
80 verses.
Which chapter is that?
18th chapter. 18.
What chapter is it?
18.
18 is
18
Diti
chapter.
goes to kill Indra.
Oh, Diti vows to kill Indra. Okay. A lot of action. It's a good story. It's not just prayers. Okay. Good.
Then he said,
It is better before breakfast or after breakfast. After breakfast.
That I was not knowing.